You have to find a way for Jack to qualify. You are his friend and partner. Invite him. He will lose tonight. I'm not going to invite him just because he's my friend and business partner. He wouldn't even want an invite, even though he's struggling in the tournament today. But yeah, Nosh vs Red Mob happening on Shogun's channel right now. AppJack Diaz on Fear and Tempo vs Rezears is going to be right here, right now on my channel. One of these players will be qualifying to the main event for Salt Mine 4. And like I said in the intro to this match, if you told me coming into the quals that Rezears makes a qualification match, I would believe you. I reckon he's one of those gatekeeper level players who's likely to be battling for the actual main event spots in Qual 4. That's a roundabout where I'd put him in the European 1v1 standings. But Tempo, I had no idea he was going to be in this kind of form. And this is the second week in a row that he's been in this situation. He's been in the upper bracket final. Now, he's starting us off with a Pogo outplaying the midfield. I mean, are you entertained? Using the longer hitbox of Dominus to get an even taller Pogo. He's unbelievable. He's actually unbelievable. But I've been watching his improvement mostly via apparently Jack's channel. I've seen him play apparently Jack in Ranked a lot. And I've seen him give Jack trouble in Ranked for quite a long time now. So I've been, I've been waiting for him to make that breakthrough to become like a mainstay top 16 player in the EU1 scene. But the fact that he's all of a sudden looking like he could be a top 8 player, top 10 player, that came out of nowhere. His runs last week and now this week in the Salt Mine Quals have been nothing short of extraordinary. The level up he's had in his play is just fantastic to see. Now, he's a really creative player, as you all know, if you've seen him last week or you've seen him today. He's a very aggressive player, and what he's really been improving in his game is the other things, the consistency elements. He's left less openings in his game for his opponents to exploit. That being said, it did look like Shadi kind of unlocked the win condition against him in the upper bracket final last week. He went 2-0 down against Tempo in the upper bracket final last week. And then he figured out that if he could just defend, he will get free chances because Tempo has not completely ironed out those kinks in his offense yet. And he does still turn over the ball for free a little bit too much. So we'll see if that's the strategy that Rezears opts for. Right now, he's tied the game with a kickoff pressure play. But will our hat-wielding Dominus be able to find the balance between aggression, between mechanics in offense, and the conservation of possession, and the care that is necessary to avoid counter-attacks at this level? Rezears especially is an excellent defender. That's already a brilliant save. Tempo low 50s in the open net from the edge of the box, and Rezears is nowhere to be seen. Tempo up by 1 goal once again. Yeah, once again, apologies for the lack of a German flag next to Rezears' name. I realized when I went to put the German flag next to his name in the previous match against AppJack that we don't have one. So we're going to get that added before we get the main event in December. Regardless of whether or not Rezears qualifies, we'll make sure to add that in there. We do have the Denmark flag though for Tempo, who's just trying to flip reset. Demo Rezears with no success. Used all of his boost to try and get that one. The recovery was a bit too slow as a result. Just given the Belgian flag it's close, it's pretty similar color scheme, but I don't think he'd like that. It's either the EU flag or the Salt Mine logo. I feel like the EU flag fits the overlay a little bit better than using just one side Salt Mine logo. Now, the one other thing that I need to let you know about Tempo is that although this is his second week in a row where he's made it into the upper bracket final, this is his third qualification match, and he's looking good so far, which is no surprise. He usually does start well, and he did start very well in his last upper bracket final against Shadi in the previous week also. But it is the third match he's had to play. and it might be a bit of a mental block if he doesn't qualify through this match. I would be surprised if he makes it through the lower bracket final. So even though you've got 2 chances here, technically, if you don't qualify through the upper bracket final here, you play the winner of the lower bracket semi with a final chance to qualify. That will be the 8th player qualifying today, later on in the stream. And if TempoH loses this match against Rezears, I will be picking his opponent to win in the lower bracket final against him, because it will be so difficult mentally to overcome 3 losses in qualification matches and then win the 4th. So that being said, this is as far as I can see, this is a must-win match for TempoH. That's the way I'm looking at it. Rezears, I think, has the resilience and experience to bounce back from a loss here and still win in a lower bracket final scenario. TempoH misses the boost at mid, but good discipline, not getting sucked into the back corner, not getting baited into the back corner. Aerial shot by Rezears goes wide. TempoH doing a good job to survive that defensive sequence, and now he's in a very nice position overall in the match. Reads the flick direction perfectly. He could have easily saved a higher flick as well. That was perfect positioning with his defense. TempoH one touch, pre-flip back to the ball, reset, top shelf, and the dunk as well. Absolutely phenomenal, just world class from TempoH. Look at this touch into the pre-flip for an efficient controlling reset, and then the acceleration to squash the ball over Rezears' head. And he is just naturally harder to read as well. The fact that he's playing the Dominus at this level in ones, I believe, does give him an advantage over the rest of the field. Double reset there by TempoH attempted. It did actually present quite a threat to Rezears. He's gone extremely all in the following touch though. That presents Rezears with an open net. So again, it is another overextension by TempoH that's noteworthy, despite the fact that he still has an advantage. And yeah, it's a good point. We are still waiting for his flick in this game. If you haven't yet seen TempoH's flick game with the Dominus, is as good as anyone else I've seen recently, trying to flick with this car. Let's see if we can take a look at it right now. There it is. It's not the maximum power, but it's enough to force Rezears back, and it's enough to win possession in the next play as well, which is all he needs right now. Doesn't need a goal, he just needs time off the clock. And that's what's happening. 30 seconds to go. Rezears needs 1 goal every 10. And he just cannot get rid of TempoH right now. TempoH, like a mosquito, just buzzing around Rezears' corner, annoying him. Must score for Rezears. And he gets a goal with a bit of an unconventional strategy. I don't know if he actually went for this. It's the reset mind game. I'm pretty sure he didn't try to fake that, but TempoH didn't see it coming. And it is back to a 2-goal deficit. Let's see if TempoH can get control of the ball. It's going to be Rezears who dives into the back corner and gets the boost. Bit of a tricky position for TempoH. Does well to just pop the ball clear. That will be enough time off the clock. TempoH just boxing Rezears out of the game. And he wins game 1 for the 2nd week in a row in the upper final. Will this be the one? Will it finally be TempoH's qualification today? We already saw that Rezears can come back from down in a series. TempoH needs to stay locked in. He needs to give it his absolute best. So anything else will not suffice. He's trying to get another goal just because why not here? Even though the game is already over. Yeah, great stuff. Once again from TempoH. It's all around looking like a main event caliber player for the 2nd week in a row, which is awesome to see. It looks like Red Mob is taking game 1 against Nush in overtime. For those of you who are trying to keep up with all the games right now.
If you didn't want to...
Just listening into Fear's channel really quick, see what's happening with Appjack. Diaz, Appjack 2-1 up in the 2nd game. Game 1 did go to Appjack. Now, I've watched a bunch of Appjack versus Diaz last year, and Appjack does seem to have a pretty good playstyle against Diaz. So I imagine on the European server with the ping advantage, Jack will win that. and that will be the end of Diaz. Attempt to qualify for both main events, leaving only Jarias and Moxie as players with a chance to make both Salt Mine main events. That'll be tomorrow that they try. Well, assuming that they make it into the top 8 tonight, the top 8 will be established later tonight, of course. The massive open qual starts in a few hours' time. Oh, well played. I mean, you have to appreciate how difficult it is to read tempo. I'm really glad we got to see Rezears POV on this, because that is just so sneaky. That little air roll to go to the top right corner instead of going across the goal, which is what Rezears expected. Extremely difficult to read this guy, as he completely soul reads Rezears on that play. Tyloo, thanks for the 10-month prime. Welcome back to the channel. Athzeus as well, thanks for the 2-month prime. Welcome back to you. Another reminder, if you have missed it, that we have finally done the Chalkcast episode with the org roundtable theme. We had Genji's CEO Arnold on the show. We had the COO of Resolve, Jeff, who is also the England manager for FIFA E. We've also had the Chiefs COO, OCE org Chiefs COO Brendy, and Farah, the coach of Carmine Corp, all on the show yesterday. And it was super insightful. It was one of my favorite episodes we've ever done. And we've done almost 100 of them live, nearly 75 or so bonus episodes as well. We've done almost hundreds of episodes. That was one of the best ones, I think. So definitely give it a listen if you haven't already. The YouTube video just dropped, so I'd encourage you guys to watch it later on today if you missed it. Really good information coming from those guys. I feel like I learned a lot, and that's knowing a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes. I still learned a lot about the goings-on with Rocket League orgs at the moment. It's been a hot topic in the off-season. It was awesome to be able to cover that with the Chalkcast boys. Well, how about this for a start for Tempo? More aerial shots landing towards top corners. And once again, it's just so hard to see that coming. Look at the way that Tempo air rolls around the ball there. It looks impossible to spot from Rezears POV. The first goal and that goal just look unplayable. Obviously, from that range, you back the attacker to score, but the way that he's doing it with such confidence and perfect placement, truly impressive to see. Maiza1996, thanks for the prime. Welcome to the channel to you as well. Tempo fake flick from the midfield. Wave dash to try and chip the ball past Rezears, who hasn't had much to talk about in terms of offense in this game. It's all Tempo. Ceiling shot and an absolute laser of a flick from close range. I mean, he just kind of paddles it in. Look at the contact here. Just bang. Right over Rezears' head. Really is an impressive player offensively, and the potential that Tempo has in his game is insane. When you look at the fact that he, I think, has a lot of inconsistencies in his game still, where he maybe goes a little bit too hard for a shot that really isn't there. He's over aggressive, I'd say. Reminds me a bit of Diaz when he came on the scene initially. I don't know if you guys would agree with that. This is like Dominus Diaz, kind of. A little bit different flavor. Obviously, Diaz was all about the full pitch air dribbles and the almost robot-like precision, robotic precision. But Tempo has got that same kind of raw, just mechanical skill and creativity in offense that makes me think his potential is even higher than what we're seeing right now. He's a world record speedrunner. What's a Tempo speedrun? What's he a world record speedrunner in? He is also a player who's made main events in RLCS last season. So he's starting to make waves there as well. And I expect him, the playstyle he's practicing right now and the playstyle he's showing in 1v1 translates perfectly to 3v3 because he's chaotic, he's volatile, he's mechanical, and all those things are brilliant for 3v3. He just looks like a player who can 1v2 a lot. Like, you give him the ball, he's probably going to 1v2 someone. Or he's going to 1v2 the team and leave his opponents in a rough spot, leave his teammates in a good spot. More often than not. Rezears missed the open net here. Yes, he has. And with this kind of scoreline, that is unforgivable. Oh, he's missed the open top corner as well. Rezears absolutely battering the crossbar there. Tempo was merely a spectator in the play. Does Tempo stream at all? I'm actually not sure. I mean, I imagine he does. I'm gonna check that for you guys actually, because I think there's a lot of you would want to watch his stream if he does. He's a 17-year-old player from Denmark, and he has just forced Rezears to forfeit with over 2 minutes left. And this isn't even an early forfeit. That's a 7-goal deficit. Unreal from Tempo. I mean, can he get through one more game? This is going to be the hardest game of them all because he is so close. But I'm so impressed. This is the most impressed I've been for a new 1v1 player. He's been a one, you know, making decent runs in smaller 1v1 tournaments, making appearances in high rating and stuff like that for a long time now. But this is a huge breakthrough, the likes of which I've not seen since Diaz last year. Now, if you are interested in knowing Tempo's results from last year, he came second in the Champions Road 2v2 Open while playing with his RLCS teammate, Acro. They lost to Oli and Jorias in the final. And when it comes to RLCS results, Tempo had, what was his best finish? Let me see if I can find it for you guys. It looks like I can't. It's not showing in his list of achievements, but I know he did make main events. I don't know why it doesn't show in his Wikipedia achievements. I'm just going to scroll down and find him. RLCS Qual, he came, main event in Qual 4 and Qual 6 last season in RLCS, and main event in Qual 1 and 3 as well. His best result last season was the, Major 1 Qual 3. They went all the way to the final round of Swiss and lost to Magnifico. At the time, Magnifico, I think, was Atomic's team. Atomic, Sizzy, and Tox. So their best result was missing out top 8 by 1 round. Very, very impressive against an extremely stacked European RLCS roster right now. And in answer to the other question, somebody is asking, does Tempo stream? I can't find a stream link for him, so perhaps no. But Tempo, if you're watching this back, if you're watching the video later, please stream. You will get viewers, I promise you. People will want to watch. That's a bit of an unlucky follow through there by Rezears after the demo, just poking the ball to his own net. Didn't really have any other way to go. That's a good mention. I didn't even notice that Rezears has got the Germany colors for this decal. I like that. I like that from him. Really looking really cool. Yeah, he should stream. You definitely watch. Yeah, I think a lot of people would watch. It's awesome to see a player doing things differently right now, when it seems like a lot of the pro scene are just doing the same thing. They're all playing Fennec with the same decals. They're all playing. Oh, a few people are playing Octane, of course, still. But you know, as much as I make fun of people for playing the Dominus, it's really cool to see that at pro level, and not just, you know, for no reason. It looks like it makes sense with his playstyle. Sometimes you see a pro hopping on a random car and then they play and you're like, I don't know, doesn't really look like the car for you, to be honest. Doesn't really look like they're playing that car to the advantages it's got. But Tempo, he really does make the most of the Dominus. The style of play, the chaotic, volatile style of play, suits the Dominus perfectly. And it suits him perfectly as well. Rezears is in a bit of trouble here. Now Rezears has already reverse swept apparently Jack today. So you do not want to count this guy out, even though he's struggling in the matchup. Tempo wants to double off his own backboard, skies it one end of the pitch to the other. That did not bounce before the back corner, but it's off target all the same. Defensive pre-jump from Tempo as well. Yeah, I really do think that the biggest weakness in his game is over-aggression and, you know, giving his opponents free goals. But defensively, when he's in defense, he looks good. I think he can actually reactively defend to a pretty high level. His reads, his pre-jumps are all very effective. Rezears has found an opening here, though. Tempo again, early challenges, maybe a bit too much, and does get caught in the counter. You main Dominus, so you know you're loving the play. Well, first of all, I do not approve of Dominus mains in my ranked games. I want all Dominus mains to be either below, I'd say let's have you all be Champ 1 or below, or Grand Champ 3 or higher. If we could have no Dominus mains between Champ 2 and Grand Champ 2, I would greatly appreciate that. So, yeah, thank you guys for keeping that in mind when you choose your car. Fantastic finish by Rezears. Reset on the side of the ball. And then the finish on as well on the side of the ball. That's really difficult to do. Yeah, no, listen, I'm a little bit coping right here when I ask this question, but I'm also, I am being honest. I can't be the only person who sees a Dominus in their 2s rank game and they immediately think, okay, this guy's just going to give the ball away. Every touch, we're just going to be in defense off of every touch they make. I can't be the only person. One in chat if you agree. You see a Dominus in your 2s game, you're like, okay, great. I guess we're playing defense this game. I guess every single touch is going to concede possession. Love that. That is universally the Dominus playstyle in my 2s games. Zero control. Now, you can't say the same about Tempo. Does he give the ball away every touch? No, he doesn't. In fact, he's very greedy with possession. Look at the precision on this little shot. Just a delicate finish to tie the game 4-4. Yeah, some players like that. Some players like playing defense, counter-attack. They like, you know, trying to bait their opponents in and score goals on the counters. You know, teams like First Touch Esports, for example, those guys love just playing defense simulator. I find it really boring, but listen, if that's how you want to play Rocket League, that's fine. You know, if that's how First Touch play Rocket League, I'm not going to judge that. I'm not going to, you know, call that out. And I don't think they should be embarrassed. But I would be embarrassed, you know what I'm saying? Way too passive for my liking. But Tempo's an aggressive Dominus. I like that. I like this style of Dominus. The kind of Dominus who plays aggressively and has ball control when they want it. Listen, if you're playing like Tempo in my ranked games, that's okay. I'm okay with that, as long as you're on my team. If you're playing like Tempo in my opponent's team, then I'm reporting you for playing in your friend's account. Just going to throw that out there. That's what I'm doing. And don't you guys laugh. I know you're all doing the same. Now, Tempo just a minute away from qualifying. While we're waffling here, he is putting up a consistent performance. And he's now 2 goals ahead with 50 seconds to go. And it's another burst of acceleration that gets the job done. Might have been a mistake there by Rezears to leave that mid boost and give Tempo the ability to create a scoring chance. Rezears will grab this mid boost for himself. Low flick by Tempo. Actually, somewhat forces Rezears back, but now here he comes. Mechanical play from the German. Hits the bar though, and that could be game. Tempo slaps the open net in, and Rezears calls GG's. Tempo's made main event. Good luck, says Tempo. That's not the last of Rezears we'll see today. He'll have another chance to qualify later on. But Tempo fans rejoice. Dominus fans rejoice. Danish Rocket League fans rejoice. What an upset. Tempo has made it to the main event. Congratulations to him. After 2 failed attempts last time, that's got to feel pretty good. And he looked phenomenal while doing it. Absolutely fantastic.